Hello. Hi, everybody. It's I'm live and this is my stream. It's me, Amanda Call, on my YouTube channel. And I'm working on a page from my webcomic, Age of Night. This is chapter 29, page 18. We started working on this last week during the live stream, and we have 3 panels penciled and 3 more panels started. So we're going to keep penciling away this evening and see how far we can get. I need to sharpen my pencil because it's looking a little bit dull. And I will take this moment to say hello. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. And I'm going to start right in with this panel. I have my script and my thumbnails off to the side here. Do, do, do. And so I'm referencing those so I know exactly what all of these little blobs that I drew last week are supposed to be. Because without that, I would be very lost. I would not remember who all of these different blobs are. What are they doing? What is happening here? I don't usually take a week between drawing sessions. It's usually much more frequently I'm like drawing a couple of pages in a day rather than drawing one page over the course of several weeks, but this is the live stream, so this is what's happening with this page. All right, who's over here? We've got a different character over here. Do do do. Add a little bit more definition to this little mannequin I have here. Hey, Spud. So glad it's Tuesday. Tuesday's a good day. Although Tuesday is also like for my day job is also my Monday, which can be fine. And then some days is very much like, oh yeah, it's a Tuesday Monday. If ever there was one. I feel like today was a struggle for me because it was just like very rainy while I was at work. And then pretty much as soon as I got out of work, it was like the rain cleared off and then it was nice and sunny. And I'm like, oh, well, now I'm awake. Election days. Yep. Hello, someone's saying. Election day stuff is coming up. Today at work, I was looking over our a briefing about Americans with Disabilities Act compliance for our polling place. And I was talking with my coworkers and I'm like, good news. Once we finish these like 3 major construction projects that we've just barely started, then we'll be ADA compliant. That's right. Ah. I'm very glad we're making progress. I will take it as a win that we are making progress after like many town basically not making any progress on making our polling place more accessible. And while it's slow progress and it's very frustrating, I'm at least making progress in making our polling place more accessible. So I feel good about that, even if it is occasionally very frustrating the amount that it does not move as quickly as I might like. Yes, some progress is definitely much better than no progress. Absolutely. It's kinda one of those things, like, I say that it's 3 major construction projects. It's really just, like, 3 aspects of one construction project, and that is, like, fixing the entryway to our polling place. But the 3 aspects of that are the door needs to get replaced, because the door needs to get replaced anyway, because it's a piece of junk that's constantly we have to, like, fight with it to lock it. We have to fight with it to unlock it. It's just you have to fight with it to get it to close all the way. It's just kind of a piece it's one of those doors that it's like, "What is this? What is going on here?" So we have to replace the door. We have to widen the walkway that leads to the door, so that it can be like, it also just needs to get redone because it's, like, the pavement is kinda, like, cracked and crappy because it hasn't been redone in many years, and when you live somewhere where the ground freezes every year, the stuff like that, anything that's paved needs to get redone every once in a while because it just slowly starts to fall apart. This is just life. And so, like, that needs to get redone, and when we redo it, it'll get expanded so that there will be, like, better accessible parking close to the door as well. So, like, yeah, part of the walkway is gonna turn into an accessible parking space. Um, and then once the door and the walkway is replaced, then there needs to be a ramp installed between the door and the walkway. And so, like, all of that, it's like it's really just one project, which is fix the entrance, but it's like when you can't get anybody to do a damned thing, when you, like, can't get anyone to do one tiny little honeydew project, it seems much more daunting than it should be to be like, "I just need you to repave a small stretch of sidewalk and replace a door, and then put in a very small ramp," like, that it just starts to feel impossible because even though it's a very manageable project, getting someone to just do one of those things has been close to impossible. But anyway, that's what I was doing at work today. How is everybody else doing? How was your weekend? Trying to finish an image but so what? Wasn't too bad. Oh, boo. Boo. Boo to getting COVID again. I'm so sorry, Spud. That's not fun. I've only had COVID one time, and I am not eager to do that ever again. That was awful. I emphatically do not have time for that shit. I hope you feel better quickly. I'm glad it is not as bad this time around. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Why is your arm so long? How did your arm get so long? What is going on here? What is happening? What is happening? Why can't I draw this gesture? Okay, we got lots of little figures in this one. So yeah, this past weekend I was doing mostly family stuff. We had my husband's family's annual reunion this weekend, so that was fun. Hanging out and having a cookout and singing songs and playing games and all that good stuff. Gotta not forget to draw the swords on Thel's back. I always forget. I sharpen my pencil for for the rest of these tiny figures. They're so tiny. All right. Those are all the figures. Now I gotta look up a previous page here because it's like, I would like not that I expect that all of my pages are gonna be super like perfectly consistent and like coherent and everything and what's the word I'm looking continuity. I'm not expecting like perfect continuity, but I would at least like it to to you know get across the idea that they're in the same place the whole time, not have the background changing wildly scene to scene. So, as much as I can, I try to make it look like, ah, yes, they are in the same place they were earlier in this exact same scene. Just a little something that's just a little bit important, maybe. And a lot of this particular panel is going to get covered with word balloons, so I'm trying not to go too crazy and filling up the space with stuff because I'm going to cover a lot of it up in just a short period of time. Yeah, I do occasionally find it funny. Someone saying said, "Yeah, some artists have gotten away with it for years, but not recommended." Yeah, I do find a little bit funny when you have like, and especially when it's just like a drama type comic where it is mostly about interpersonal conflict and feelings and whatever, where it's just like it's a bunch of figures just kind of floating in the void. There might be an establishing shot showing that we're in a school or an office building, or there's just faces and figures the rest of the time. And it's like, how are you getting away with this? What is All right. So there's a panel that's going to be covered with a whole bunch of word balloons. So I'm not going to worry about the rest of that space. And now we get to move on down here. They have a specific character whose design changes panel to panel. Yeah, that's maddening. Where it's just like, no, that's clearly not the same guy anymore. What are you doing? All right. We've got a little bit more. Let's see. The Belt and weapons coming and going or changing shapes completely or just appearing because now the guy needs a weapon. He's a mutant and his power is constant mutation. Where did that sword get pulled from? The mutant ability is the power of plot hole. It's very helpful. So that's a very useful ability to have. trying to convincingly draw crossed arms. I feel like half the time I don't really get it. Like the tuck, the way that you can like tuck one hand under the other arm just doesn't always feel like it comes out entirely correct. Should really just do a bunch of studies of people with crossed arms. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, wait, it doesn't look like it makes any sense. Like how does your hand disappear in the crook of your other arm? How does this happen? How do you manage that? All right. So while I'm continuing to work on this little figure here, what is going on this week? This week is Gen Con, but I will not be there this year. I was planning on it, but I had to cancel my trip. So I will not be at Gen Con, which is a bummer. I hope that all of my friends who will be at Gen Con have a super great time. And hopefully I'll get to see them all again at a different show sometime soon. But then this weekend, and I'm doing another small local event. So on Saturday at 1 p.m., I'm going to be at Galactic Comics in Bangor, doing another little book signing event for I Am the First. So if you are in the Bangor area and you weren't able to make the last one that I did at Bookspace, I would love to see you at this one that's coming up at Galactic Comics. All right, I had to kind of focus there for a minute to get this to get this pose, to get a convincing bend. This like foreshortening of the torso, where it's like, ah, it actually looks like they're bending over, and not like their midsection has just disappeared. It's tricky. I don't always pull it off. I'm glad that it seems to have worked this time. Definitely drawn many a bent over pose where it was just like, what happened to their torso? Where did it go? Instead of, you know, it looking like they bent over like they were supposed to. All right. Yay. I should probably put in some actual background on this particular panel, but I'm going to sharpen my pencil again real quick. I like to drop them in mysterious shadows that conveniently hide their torsos in some cases. Hey, you know what? I've also done that. I've also just been like, "Ah, yes, shadows there. Now we will not see my sins. Everything is fine. It's fine. This is all fine." Sometimes that's what you gotta do. I gotta figure out the background of this shot. Again, a lot of this is gonna get covered by word balloons, so I'm trying not to go too crazy, get too intense over here, but I do want something behind them, make it look like they're existing in a space. That would probably be good. All right, last panel. Hooray! Of course, anytime I draw a hand doing almost anything, I have to, like, stand there and be like, "Okay, if you're holding your hand out, like, palm out." Look at all the blue smudge all over my hands. I'm such a disaster. If you hold your hand out, like she's doing here, yes, the thumb is on the outside, because I don't know. Hey, Hungry, thanks so much for joining me. It's like, I forget. How does this work? Oh, yeah, it works like this. All right. I realize I put the thumb on the wrong side. It happens far too often. It still happens to me far too often. Far too often do I realize that's not where the thumb goes, Amanda. Uh, the other one that I do all the time, which is very silly, and I feel very silly every time I do it, is where I will. What is happening? What is happening? Okay. I'm trying to pull up a piece of reference, and my computer just decided to act possessed there for a hot second. Um, when I'll like do a gesture where like some of the fingers are tucked away and some of them are out, like pointing a lot of times, I will accidentally draw an extra finger as if it was a fist. But then there's also this other finger sticking out. And I'm like, wait, that person has 6 fingers. Right, half the time it's when you did a really good hand, it's just backwards. It's like, "No!" It's so frustrating. 6 fingers, someone was looking for them. Yeah, except it's usually just an accident. I have this, like, very vague memory of, like, being up super duper late watching, like, Turner Classic Movies at my aunt's house when I was a kid, like, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13, and watching this really old silent movie, and there was a plot point in it about a six-fingered man, and this was a movie from, like, the '20s, and I just remember thinking, like, "Is this, like, where they got that from for the for The Princess Bride? Was this, like, actually this weird deep cut kind of thing?" Um, because that was, like it that was, like, how they figured out that it was, like, the guy who committed the murder, because it was, like, about people who were, like, circus performers because, they had all sorts of weird physical differences, and one of them was, like, faking having a physical difference and instead was just like a regular dude, except he had 6 fingers. It was very strange. It was all very strange. I wanna see if I can look this movie up, because I swear, like, half the time, I'm like, "Did that movie even exist? Was that a real thing?" Yeah, it was an old silent film. It was on at, like, 1 in the morning, and I was quite young, and so I'm like, "Is this real, or did I make" Oh my god, it's a real movie. Okay. Yes, okay, yeah, and it had a very young Joan Crawford in it. Okay. Okay, okay. It's 1927. A criminal on the run hides in a circus and seeks to possess the daughter of the ringmaster at any cost. Starring Lon Chaney, Norman Carey, and Joan Crawford. I'm gonna put this in the chat, guys, if you wanna look it up. If you wanna try to track this down. Oh, I guess you can find it on Max. Okay, cool. I have Max right now. I guess I will have to look that up and see if this movie is as unhinged as I remember. Yes, okay, I'm seeing the photos now. The guy have arms, and that's why he was in the circus, but he actually did have arms, and his hands had 6 he had, like, I forget if it was, like, 2 thumbs or something weird like that, but he had 6 fingers, and that's how they find out, like, that he's the murderer or something. It's a very strange, very old movie. This movie is almost 100 years old now. Um, okay, that was quite the little digression. I'm glad that I didn't make it up. I'm glad my brain didn't just completely fabricate that and that it does in fact exist. And I'll have to watch it again sometime soon and, like, figure out if I'm remembering it entirely correctly. Like, I'm not gonna say it was a good movie. It was definitely a very old silent film with a little quirks you get with silent films that make them somewhat difficult to watch for modern audiences. All the very strange, like, stylized acting and everything and odd, like, cuts and stuff because they just had to, because you had to keep on cutting in between characters doing things and then, like, title cards of what they were saying, and just very different stylistically than what we're used to watching for movies nowadays. probably old enough to have caught it on TV. Yeah, it was on, like, Turner Classic Movies channel very, very late at night one time. I don't even remember if I finished watching it because it was so late and it was a little bit, slow, and I was just like, this is wild and interesting, but also it's very late and I'm sleepy." 'Cause I don't really remember how it ends, so maybe I didn't actually finish watching it. I'll have to look it up. Have to see. Okay, we're in, like, the last 10 or so minutes, though, so I'm going to quickly do the YouTube things as we finish up here and remind you I'm Amanda Call, and this is my YouTube channel where every Tuesday I do one of these art streams. I work on some artwork, very often one of my comic pages. I chat about my process, answer questions, all that good stuff. And if you think that's cool and you like watching it, then you should subscribe. Join me most Tuesday evenings. And if for whatever reason I have to postpone or skip a week, then I always post about it. So that's why it's also helpful to subscribe because then you can see when I make those posts of like, hey, sorry, got a delay, or oh, I got to skip this week because of whatever, because of life. Hey, it's CP Sketch coming in right at the end. How are you doing, man? The comic that I'm working on right now is my webcomic, Age of Night, which you can read online for free at ageofnight.com. I update that with a new comic page just about every Wednesday. But if you would like to help support me, you can do so at patreon.com/ageofnight. Patrons get all of their comic pages a week early and other cool behind the scenes stuff. And it just like really helps me out. I appreciate it a whole bunch. So that'd be cool if you wanted to do that. And a reminder, hey, hey, and it's Abso. So good to see you guys. I'm sorry you guys jumped in right at the very end when I'm just about done, but I will hopefully get to see you soon. Are you guys going to be at Art in the Park in Portland? Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. I will be there. We should hang out. We should like get dinner or something afterwards, since that's more down in your neck of the woods. but I need to go get a drink, and my butt's tired from sitting on my drafting stool. Hey, I'll still be down in your area, so we should definitely get together while I'm down there. I'll be there. And yeah, Derek will be there too. The husband. You do exist. You exist, honey. I promise. You're real. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I know. I'm still kind of bummed I have to miss the Odd and Unusual fair on Labor Day weekend, but ABSO and CP Sketch will be there, and you should definitely go and see them. I was gonna go to it, but I had to cancel because my best friend is getting married that weekend, and I am officiating their wedding, so I kinda need to be there. It's kind of important. It was one of those, like, they weren't gonna do it this year, and then they said, "Nah, screw it, we're gonna make it work this year," and so it just, it is just a thing, but it's fine because 'cause I'm very excited for them. A little bit bummed I have to miss Odd and Unusual, but there will be more. There will be more Odd and Unusuals, and my best friend is only going to get married to their wonderful wife this one time, so I'm happy to be a part of that. Talking to your imaginary friend. Oh, it's the first time you've heard his name. Yes, he does exist. He's more of a real person now. All right, that is gonna do it for this evening. Hey, look, we finished. We finished all the pencils. This page is fully penciled now. That only took us 2 sessions. That's pretty good. It's a lot faster than it has been for a lot of these lately. So I'll probably do the lettering off stream just so that we can get through a bunch of the inking next time. But yeah, looking forward to sharing that with you guys next week. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you next time. Bye.